passed through my field of vision, and I thought about how lucky those little creatures were to enjoy such freedom. While I was shut away in that room with other children who seemed to like it there, at all of 6 years old, I already aspired to that freedom. Obviously, I was aware of how rough life out there must be, but when I observed that existence, simple and serene despite all its dangers, I felt a tiny germ of mutiny stirring within me, resisting a vision of human life in which I already felt they were attempting to confine me. Every day I spent by that window at the back of the class took me a little further away from so-called societal values, while the wild world exerted an attraction on me like a magnet on a compass needle. Only a few months after the end of the summer holidays, a seemingly banal event would give shape to that germ of rebellion. One fine morning I learned, as I got to class, that a trip to the swimming pool was planned. Somewhat timid by nature, I was already apprehensive. When we got to the pool itself, I froze with horror. It was the first time I'd seen so much water, and never having swum in my life, I was filled with an instinctive fear. All the other children seemed perfectly at ease, while I was gritting my teeth. The instructor, a red-haired woman with a long, severe face, asked me to get into the water. I refused. Her face tightened, her voice hardened. She ordered me to jump in. I refused again. Then she walked heavily toward me like a military officer, took me by the hand, and hurled me violently into the pool. I swallowed great gulps of water, of course, and not knowing how to swim, I started to go under. Between two desperate gesticulations, I saw my tormentor swimming in my direction. I panicked, certain that she was going to kill me. My survival instinct led me to do the impossible. I doggy-paddled to the middle of the pool and dived below the divider separating me from the larger pool with a view to reaching the other side. Having reached the edge, I climbed the ladder and ran as fast as I could to seek refuge in the changing rooms. I put my pants and my t-shirt back on. Once she was back out of the water, the instructor looked for me everywhere. The sound of her footsteps on the damp tiles suggested to me that she was coming up the little corridor that runs between the stalls arranged on each side. I had locked myself in the third one on the left. She flung open the second door, which closed again just as violently. An infernal din that made me think she was smashing in each door in turn. Seized by panic, I started crawling from stall to stall, slipping through the spaces between wall and floor. Having reached the end of the row, I took advantage of a few seconds during which she was peering inside one of the stalls to cross to the other side and slip discreetly out of the exit. Once outside, I went charging down the street, running straight ahead, my eyes blurry with tears and chlorine, until a familiar-looking man stopped and asked me to follow him, taking me by the hand. It was the bus driver. He had seen me coming out all by myself and had the presence of mind to follow me. Between hiccuping sobs, I told him what was happening and why I never wanted to go back to the pool. His voice and his words reassured me a little. Once my little adventure was over, and the teacher had been told how my escape had ended, I found myself at the back of the bus, alone, being stared at by both teachers and classmates, like a dangerous wild animal that needed to be treated with care. After that incident, the decision was made to take me out of school. I would pursue my education at home, thanks to the National Center for Distance Education. So I found myself alone in my room, isolated from the outside world, with no friends and no teachers. Luckily, a big library was open to me, full of literary treasures. Nicolas Vanier, Jacques Cousteau, Diane Fossey, Jane Goodall, telling stories of nature and life in the wild. I also devoured all the books about plants and animals I could get my hands on, a mine of precious information that I tried to apply on my own personal scale in my garden. An apple tree, a plum tree, a cherry tree, barberry hedges, cotoneasters, pyracanthas, a few rose bushes.